We'll go ahead. Our next speaker is from First Genomix Laboratory in Dubai, working as a clinical operation manager, Ms. Sahar Abdelaziz, and then she will present Indirect whole exome sequencing diagnostic approach success stories.
Hello everyone, and thank you for attending today. Today we'll be talking about the indirect whole exome sequencing diagnostic approach. But before we talk about the indirect, we'll just take a brief about the whole exome sequencing testing. So basically, the whole exome sequencing testing, I think most of you are familiar with the test. It was developed as a diagnostic tool in 2009, and it represents, or it actually covers, the coding region of the protein. So if you can see in the picture, the exome, the intron, like we can cover the coding region, the exomes, and that's why the test is called whole exome sequencing. The test is actually very helpful so far, and in our lab, we've been using this test since 2014. The test depends on the quality of the diagnosis, depends on two different parts. The first part is the sequencing, so you have to ensure that you're using the correct capture or sequencing kit, first of all. And then the most important part is the analysis itself. Actually, the analysis is one of the most important factors in the quality of the results. And in our lab, we focus and we invest more in that part because we believe it can take us to a different level of diagnosis. In the whole exome sequencing, you actually try to find association with the phenotype of the index patient, the provided phenotype, and the genes that you are analyzing. If you find a candidate, then you need to go for the classification. We're trying to put together which gene is the most or the perfect candidate for the case. For most of the physicians, the very uncertain significance or the host is one of the challenges because after the patient or the doctor receive the result, they don't know what is the next step they need to take in order to either manage the case or provide prevention solutions for the family. So again, the test is mainly diagnostic, so you receive the sample from the index patient, the patient with the phenotype, and you try to analyze the gene associated to the phenotype. But what if the sample from the index patient is not available? And we can see these cases, when the condition itself is lethal, either in utero or in the neonatal period where the testing or the genetic testing is not available at that time. So we see many couples who lost one or two offspring, and actually they haven't done any genetic testing, and they still didn't know the diagnosis, either planning for the next pregnancy or even scared to plan for the next pregnancy because of lack of information and lack of diagnosis. In that case, and we have seen many cases, in that case the doctor, the physician, will advise the couple to go for genetic testing, which is the perfect path. However, panel or a genetic like screening panel, or they might be offered whole exome sequence screening. Well, although the second one is a better option for the couple, and we encourage that, but we have a problem with the screening approach, not the diagnostic approach. So this very interesting study, it was done in Saudi Arabia. It's like a collaboration between King Saud and King Faisal. They tested around 83 contiguous Saudi couples, where the couples lost at least one offspring, and whether it's in the utero or the neonatal period. And actually, the result is very interesting because 52% of the couples, like the families, they were found to be sharing or carriers of inconclusive result, like that means you have a disease-causing variant, and 29% were found to have inconclusive or VRS results. For us in the lab, even the VRS is considered positive because we take it to the next level. We don't just deliver the results to the doctor and the patient and classify it as a VRS or variant of uncertain significance. So for me, I consider both of them, the two percentage, as positive solutions for the family. We have so many cases, like actually successful cases of indirect testing. Indirect because we're not testing the index patient, we're testing the parents of the diseased offspring. So we have so many cases that we have done the same way and all were positive. But I just, I had some examples here. So the first case is for a couple. Actually, they are not from the country. They just came here for the genetic testing. They lost two boys, just like 2 days and 7 days after birth. They reported no family history, and even they reported no non-consanguinity. They were not aware of consanguinity. The pregnancy was fine. The only thing that the mother was able to provide is that in the death note they mentioned brain cyst or multiple cysts in the brain. So the patient consulted her physician and he advised her, of course, to do the genetic testing. And here are the two examples we were talking about. The first one, actually, in the first lab, the sample from the wife and the husband were sent for a screening panel of 331 genes. And of course, the result was negative. Then she was still scared because it happened twice, not only once. She tried to consult another doctor and he advised her to go for whole exome sequencing, but that time it was screening only. The order went for screening. So again, the result was negative. So the last meeting with the doctor, he informed her that it seems like it's either not genetic or something not discovered yet. I felt asking the couple to pay for the third time for the test is not cheap, the test. It's not the right way. We just requested them to provide us with the WIS raw data, like the FASTQ file or the BAM file. And they were able to provide us, and we did the analysis on the sequence material, like we didn't do the sequence in-house. So in our analysis of the couple, we detected a pathogenic variant in the ECHS1 gene. And it's novel, as Dr. Christine mentioned, the problem with our population that most of the findings are novel. They are not reported, not well established. So we detected the variant in both of them, the couple, and it's mitochondrial disease. But there was, in the next codon, in the 817, the next codon of the one that we detected, there was a report in 2015 for two siblings who passed away 24 hours and 48 hours after birth. So in the picture here in the flare image, this is the second one. This is the one who passed around 48 hours of life, and it's showing cysts in the brain, multiple cysts. So we consider we were approaching this case as this variant is likely to be the cause of the patient or the condition that we need. But in addition to that, we also detected a lucky pathogenic variant in the GYCTP gene, and it's a metabolic disorder. It's glycemic dysuria, and actually, again, it's not reported, it's not well established, but there are two variants after this one, loss of function as well, and they were reported in affected patients. One of them died at the age of 3.5 years. So we actually, we got this result, and we didn't do any sequence, right? We just did the investigation or the analysis of the raw data, and because the first one we believe it's this, the first variant we believe it's the cause of the death for the two male, but again we cannot neglect the second variant. The PGTM was offered for both of them, and single embryo was transferred, and she conceived. Actually, this is the baby when 3 months. Actually, he's now 6 months, but I couldn't share the picture. But of course, I get the consent from the parents to share this one. She keeps actually sending monthly pictures to us. She feels like when we give her a guidance, she almost believes that there is no genetic finding. She almost believes that she can go for natural pregnancy because we don't know what's happening. This second case is different. So we have a first-degree cousin, and the couple, they have 3 normal females, but they lost a boy in the childhood, and it was suspected to be a cardiac or a heart malformation. The patient herself, the wife, she reported no family history of the same. So we did diagnostic on the couple, exome diagnostic on the couple, indirect again, and we didn't detect any shared variants, which is not expected because they are first cousins. However, we detected a variant of uncertain significance, again in the ZIG3 gene in the wife. So ZIG3 gene is X-linked, and it causes congenital heart defect, non-syndromic congenital heart defect, and sudden death may occur. So we, again, after we got the result and we reported, we had a discussion with the family whether there is any other male incidents of the same. And by digging further in this family, this pedigree is different. It's the same pedigree, but after segregation and after getting more info from the family. So we knew that the wife, the patient, our proband, she had 2 siblings, male siblings, who passed away around before the age of 2. And there was no diagnosis. Actually, she didn't know that she lost 2 siblings. We tested her other 2 unaffected male siblings for the same variant, and they were detected as non-carriers. We also checked her other extended family members. Then we could offer them PGTM for the ZIG3. She did a twin transfer or 2 embryo transfer, and she delivered 2 boys. This case also from outside the country. Only the second case was here, local patient, but this case from outside the country, and they came only for the genetic test because they couldn't find any help in their country. They are first-degree cousin, and they had 3 male sudden death. This is how they reported it without any other malformation, no syndromic or dysmorphism, nothing. Just the boys or the offspring would be just doing the normal activity at school or just playing around, and then sudden death would occur. So actually, when they tried to find a solution, they didn't have anything. There was no explanation or even scan of any of the deceased children, nothing available at all. So we did the indirect, this one also in our lab sequencing analysis, we did the indirect splicing the 22+1 variant in the TRDN gene, which is an autosomal recessive condition that affects the heart and the heart morphology and may lead to the sudden death. So the thing here, in this case, after he lost the 3 male siblings, they were scared because when they came actually for the testing, the last baby was maybe 40 days or 45 days only, and they were very scared that she will have the same like story as her sibling. But after we confirmed the finding, we tested the baby, and the baby was just a carrier, so we give them like peace of mind, at least for this one. And now they are planning for the next one through the IVF. So these were just some examples of what we consider, what we do in our lab, how we deal with the cases, whether it's direct that every other lab is offering or indirect. The analysis, I just want to remind the doctors that the analysis is different if you request whole exome sequence screening or if you request diagnostic. The screening is mainly automated in most of the labs, of the clinics. And actually, that's why the first case was missed, because it's not loss of function. The variant is not loss of function. It's not reported, so it was missed. I believe if this patient was offered or counseled on what the test that would be done for her and her husband, it would have been different. It's just the work of the physician and the genetic lab that we need to work together to deliver the best results for the patient. Again, we're committed to changing life through science. This is what we're doing for the past 10 or 11 years. Just the last message that I want to leave, that any couple with a genetic or suspicion of genetic disease, they should receive a genetic counseling before taking any test, because it's really important the time of the test that they will perform. Thank you.
Thank you very much for an outstanding talk. I'm very pleased to see that something that I advocate since more than 27 years, other people are agreeing with me. So we need counseling, testing, genetic testing without counseling can lead to a lot of errors. There is a big difference in between whole exome screening and whole exome diagnosis. And molecular necropsy is very useful in practice if the couple is counseled correctly. The floor is open for 2 questions from Mrs. Sahar. Any questions? Yeah, it was happy at the end. Yeah. But just to emphasize that this is very useful for cases who are assessed. Yes, please. I haven't seen it. Sorry.
Thank you for your really outstanding talk. You talked about the successful stories. Do you have unsuccessful stories?
Of course, there are. You've done it.
Because can you tell us the percentage? Because sometimes for example, I remember the families that I met before. Now you changed my mind. I will go back home. I will call them, okay, and I may send them. But I want to know. They will ask me. But what is the unsuccessful percentage?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I have to answer.
Yes. So
That was my question, but I'm happy that you put it.
first, thank you for the question, but we cannot promise 100% diagnostic yield, but we can promise that in our lab we have the highest diagnostic yield. It's around or exceeding the 80% of the cases.
If you have good interpretation with the clinical features.
Yes, the clinical information is very important for the analysis, yes.
The case that you presented initially, that the rats have been outside of your lab and you just analyze it with your bioinformatics, it's again to, if progress, no matter if it's carrier or if it's diagnosis, and you are still on the fact that this couple or this patient is needing it, and the result is negative. Keep in mind that all of this is bioinformatics, and different labs might have different approach and filters, and different databases as reference. And maybe something else to point is that this kind of approaches are successful on recessive disorders. We still have a lot of cases that can be kind of mutations and germinal mosaics that are absolutely very difficult to be ruled out. Any questions?
Yes, but just to add here, as Dr. Christine mentioned, that we here talking about the inherited recessive, like either it's autosome or X-linked. But we might have the de novo where it was only present in the index that is no longer available for testing. But here the impact is different because this one is recurrent. You have from 25% to 50%, unlike the de novo that it has unless there is gonadal mosaicism. But yes, it's successful mainly in the consanguineous couples or interfamily marriage.
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
Does it make a difference if it is likely pathogenic or pathogenic versus VOS? Because VOS has weaker.
Yes. So pathogenic and pathogenic together are considered for action, like we call them actionable variants. But the VOS, it needs further investigation or analysis in order to offer either the management or the prevention. They are not the same.
Cannot do a PGD or GDM with the US.
Unless to extended family.
Yeah, and you come back with the phenotype and might match. Right, thank you. So on behalf of the organizers, this is your recognition for your presentation.